Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And it is so good to be back with some Mythic League of Legends. This is the Mythic tournament, and I'm going to be joined here with TDK Zenzen. Is that right? Is TDK? I believe it's TDK.
BDE Zenzen.
I was so close. My intro was so beautiful until I messed it up.
That is okay, but yeah, this is going to be quite a doozy. I'm coming over from the Heroic League, where we've been seeing that game sort of reach its conclusion. Now we get to step up to the Big Boy League. And right now, our first game of our Mythic Spring Tournament is going to be Ragnarok Esports Loki versus the Rice Farmers. And I cannot wait, as we already see this ban phase heating up. Aurelia, Katarina, and Misfortune taken away from the Rice Farmers.
But absolutely, and with these drafts, with these picks already being taken away, this is something I am very, very happy to see. These are very target-centric bans. Clearly, looked at some research, since these aren't champions we are typically seeing in the traditional meta, and I always like to see those different type of versatile picks because it really separates amateur from professional.
Right. One thing that keen-eyed viewers may notice as well is that Rice Farmers did not manage to get their first two bans. That's because there was a tragic last-minute substitution that was not set up prior to the event, and so as a result, they have a 2-ban penalty going into our first game. However, that does mean that their Rice Farmers coach, Anon X Curse, is going to be playing in the jungle role, and this is normally a support player, so I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring out. But speaking of, it looks like both teams going to go ahead and pick up their 80 carries to kick things off. Zeri for Ragnarok Esports, and the Ashe picked up in response.
Yeah, and on Curse pulling a Paradox. Cheers to everyone who knows LCS history and knows who Paradox is. But yeah, just hop into a situation, the first game, and you're unable to have your team that you are usually expecting to have. So definitely going to show us how Rice Farmers can handle some adversity early on. And the picks coming out right now, you have with Zeri and Nautilus taking on from Ragnarok Esports. I love this bot lane selection, and especially when you have the immobile 80 carry of the Ashe, and you do in that point and click CC for the Ahri. This is already looking good for the amount of CC and damage that Ragnarok has taken.
Speaking with some of the members of Ragnarok before this match, oh my goodness, and there it is. Oh, I'm so excited. I was talking with them, and they said we want to play, strong meta champions that are going to give us early advantages. And Atlas going to be picking up the Kindred, something that he was renowned for on the solo queue ladder. I believe he at one point was top 100 in North America on that pick. So very excited to see it locked in and, left open for him to be able to take as we continue further into this draft.
Yep, absolutely. And Kindred does give away a lot of what the focus is going to be for Ragnarok Esports. She needs to have winning lanes, she needs pushing lanes, and she needs to have early skirmishing on her team comp because she's the late game insurance policy that really depends very heavily around her stack timers. But she's a champion who I really love to see when people are proficient at her, just because of how much thought is going to be it comes into jungle pathing when you have a champion who really affects the map with the way they want to move around it.
Yeah, continuing on into the bans, we see Rice Farmers going to go ahead and throw some targeted picks away at the Yasuo of Burger King, I believe, and the Karma from Evan. So making sure that they can't further supplement this aggressive style that they have with the Kindred and the Zeri. Meanwhile, Ragnarok correctly identifying that Rice Farmers really need some sort of engage tools here. Outside of the primary engage from the Ashe, they're going to take away the Camille and Xin Zhao, and it is the Lee Sin picked up for the player who is flexing into the jungle is not a jungle main. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. There's so much pressure on him to perform.
Oh, absolutely. One of the highest mechanically difficult champions in the game on the Lee Sin. When you're not, this isn't your main role. Now, I do assume that jungle is something that he probably autofills to in solo queue on occasion. A lot of players who do come from different roles do like the higher difficulty champions. And if you have good fingers, you can always pull off Lee Sin, even if you don't have the mind for jungle when it comes to pathing and doing everything perfect on that end. So I can understand where the pick is coming from, especially since they've picked a very safe top side and they're clearly looking to play around their mid bot.
Yeah, Ragnarok Esports, Loki, gonna go ahead and round out their draft with some very good counter-engage characters in the Gragas for weak side veteran and the Vigar for TSM Burger King. So I like this adaptation, recognizing that this Lee Sin is going to have to go in and he's going to have a difficult time of it. But Rice Farmer's going to go ahead and lock in the Gwen. Really strong scaling pick into the Gragas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this matchup is something that's very, I want to say not super skill reliant. It's very difficult to play around the Gragas body slam for the Gwen. You can't really look for kill pressure early, but there is a lot of avenues for the Gwen to scale up very safely into the mid game, and she's a team fight monster still, and she also just received some buffs, so I'm not surprised to see her come back.
Absolutely. And I like what Rice Farmers has done with this draft. They've sort of left themselves open to being very flexible in the draft. As we are going to go ahead and transition into the game, oh man, I just cannot wait to see how these teams interact. I want to see Rice try to play around this Gwen, get them super farmed up, and allow them to, have the success that they want to have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is so many avenues for both teams to kind of play around and show some different look. And since this is our first look at both these teams, both Loki and Rice, this is going to be their opportunities to really showcase how good they're going to be in this tournament, and if which players are going to be the standout that we're going to be watching later on.
Yeah. One of the things that I like, after talking with some of the members on each of these teams, is that every team in this Mythic Spring Tournament has competitive tournament experience coming into this. Ragnarok currently X1 in the Ryzen Esports Diamond League. So even though they have slightly lower ranks than some of the teams that they're playing up against, they are currently playing in a competitive League of Legends setting on the regular and doing quite well in that. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have Rice Farmers, who is a team that sort of grew up and gamed together through the Purple Caster Minions at the University of Washington, and they also have been playing together as a team for a very long time, have a very solid sort of support staff. And so all that means is that these games are going to be very, very high quality, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, with the amount of improvement we've constantly been seeing from Heroic, they're starting to look like the Mythic used to look. I mean, we always kind of had the weird dichotomy where Mythic was very more hands focused, more mechanical focused, but less of the macro, and Heroic was very good at the macro end, but less of the hands. So now that we have different teams with different focuses and some teams that are a little bit more focused on their amateur careers, I do like this different look that we're having for the Mythic League this year around.
Yeah, so it does look like both junglers going to be pathing to opposite sides of the map here. And on actually doing something a little bit different, he has taken his red and immediately crossed the other side of the map. So probably looking for a level 3 gank here in some capacity. We'll have to see what abilities he's able to come out. Whereas Kindred just going to go ahead for a more traditional sort of full clear into a scuttle crab kind of movement. So excited to see if anything comes out of this, but so far both teams looking pretty good. Nothing too crazy in the early levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Curse, looking for this early mid gank, Charm is going to be available for Kai'Sa rather. But I mean, this is going to be a very difficult look. It's very difficult to punish the Veigar this early on, and unless he's really far up into the lane. But that's going to be the Warhop in. The Charm is going to go wide, and the Q is going to miss. Burkin's going to take that extra damage though, and just very well played on the gank from the side of Kai'Sa, landing every ability he needed to.
Yeah, unfortunately for Burger King, just positioning on the right side of the minions means that he's exactly where that Lee Sin is actually going to be, and kind of taken by surprise by that quick movement means that Rice is going to pick up the first blood, and they're going to have to feel pretty good about that, forcing the TP out of Burger King.
I mean, yeah, that's very, very good for the side of Rice, as Kaiso's going to be in a bit
So
of trouble, potentially going to get stunned up. And Oscars is here, but Atlas is also getting the autos
flash.
down. Kaiso is taking the extra damage, and he's going to drop first. Now Burger King's trying to cut it out. Is the Q going to land? And Oscars is going to take those extra damages. Burger King is going to be dropping just yet, but that's a double kill grab for Atlas and a stack early on the game.
Yeah, and that I
Oh,
think.
and this is Ghost Pop. This is all in looking for the top side on weak side veteran. He's going to need to get away from these auto attacks as the last one isn't going to come through. The snip wasn't enough, but a flash burned in the 1v1 for the side of S.
Yeah, and weak side, you can see him sort of really in a lot of trouble here because this wave is not where he wants it to be. He has to sort of stick around. You see the jungle pings immediately coming out of the Lee Sin as well. They know that Gragas is going to be vulnerable in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, and Anakers really did go for a risky gank strategy. When you do go for those early ganks, I mean, you can fall so far behind in both CS and experience. And if that gank doesn't work, they're just massively far behind. As this is going to be a face check for the side of Atlas. Atlas chose not to go for the 1v1, but he was 2 levels up.
Yeah. Chooses not to, goes ahead and recalls. I think that that's a pretty smart decision. But look at the way the lane control from Team Rice, managing to get a nice freeze in the top lane as well as in the mid lane, starting to make the solo laners of Ragnarok Loki look really uncomfortable. Look at this. Burger King just cannot approach this wave without facing potential poke. Has to be very careful without knowing exactly where the jungler is.
Yeah, absolutely. And since he does not have flash available, he's going to need to be very, very cautious about when this Lee Sin is going to look for that second gank, especially considering Ahri will be hitting 6 in about a wave or two. Generally, around 6.5 minutes is when you can expect mid laners to be grabbing that level 6. And Vhagar is very vulnerable to those early all-ins from just getting point-blank charmed.
And already we see, the quality of these teams' macro decisions because, as I was just saying, that Vhagar is in a bit of trouble. He's in an awkward spot. He needs this wave to bounce back. What does Ragnarok do? They immediately commit members in Atlas and Evan with an eye just to do a gentle roam up to the top side or up into the middle of the lane just to make sure that he's not going to be punished or in too much trouble. So these teams really showing their teamwork so far, as it does look like Lee Sin gonna go ahead and start up that dragon.
Yeah, very smart. We love to see support roams being active on the map. This is an early dragon for Anakurs, but he does have bot lane prio. But this fight is going to be looking. The R is going to be have first move, so this is going to be early fight. Dragon stolen. Atlas has grabbed it, and now LeBlanc is taking a bunch of damage. But who's going to go first? And it looks like Atlas is going to be the first one to get shut down, and the Ashe is going to grab it. LeBlanc is going to get those auto attacks, and this fiend fight is going disastrous so far. As now the turnaround, Perpetual Dusk has found some damage. As Burger King's going to grab 2. And the autos are going to come in, but you're going to feed Burger King a triple kill, and he's right back into the game.
Oh, we got a banger of a game 1 found. Let's watch that one back. So look at how quick the red team is to get onto this play. They have the early prio. They can move up to this dragon very quickly. But Ragnarok Loki spots it out, and they think that they can take this fight. Evan's going to go ahead and come in here, start with the Q. And even though the blue team is undermanned here, the positioning is actually pretty solid for them. Zeri is completely uncontested here for most of this fight, managing to kite back beautifully. Will eventually get taken out when Burger King joins the fight, but look at how much damage Perpetual Dusk is able to power through here. It's just so much, and that manages to take a play that should have been hard losing into something that is a triple kill for the Vhagar.
Yeah, absolutely. These carries showing out for the side of Ragnarok. I mean, you got to give credit to Burger King also. That stun he landed in the pit was a 3-man stun, really turned the fight around, especially when it had gotten very out of the advantageous position for the side of Ragnarok. So, I mean, he's just right back into the game, sitting on a shutdown, still doesn't have his flash available, so is going to be vulnerable for a gank onto Kaiso if that's going to be the avenue that they look for. But, I mean, for as far behind as Vhagar was, he has to be now happy where he is in now, where he is in this game state.
Yeah, and you can see that he can play a little bit further up now.
Oh, but you have no mana, and Kaiso's just going to walk up on you, but Atlas is in the wings. Not going to go too aggressively, as the extra move speed from the Spirit Fire is going to be there to keep him safe. Good having Atlas cover the lane so Burger King can get a nice, safe recall.
Yeah, I always love watching high elo junglers sort of work very well with their teammates to try and, fix lane states and make sure that people are vulnerable in the times they need to be vulnerable and protect each other when you need to be protected. Another shout out that I want to make, it hasn't been on the screen in a while, but weak side veteran has managed to fix his lane to some degree. Only now, gonna have a slight CS lead until this wave crashes in, but coming from that position where he was being frozen on before he had to take his first recall, he's doing much better now, and so he's managed to sort of even up that lane, and I wanted to note that.
Oh yeah, speaking of things to note, if we can, hopefully, if production is listening, we can get quickly check on to the Kindred stacks. That is very important for Atlas scaling. I believe he should have at least 2. I believe he got the Scuttle Crab, and he did pick up 1 on to Anon Curse. So we'll see where he's at on that one. Yep, 2 stacks. I was good on my guesswork. But Atlas has been playing a very, very solid game so far, and this is really, really difficult. As a non-curse is 6, and he's going to be looking for the gank. Even with an eye, is going to get knocked up, and the damage is going to come in. He's not going to have enough eyes in the tank, as he's going to drop first, and the auto attacks are going to come through. Perpetual Dusk is stunned up, force the cleanse. R's going to be there, and now the ultimate from Atlas is trying to keep everyone alive. Is any follow-up damage going to come? But everyone's going to be dropping, as a non-curse played a very immaculate fight, getting that knock-up and getting this bot lane ahead.
Yeah, and that is so huge for Team Rice. In addition to the great kills that they're going to pick up, they're also going to get turret plates and a beautiful reset as well. LeBlanc is going to come back into this lane way more powerful than Perpetual Dusk, and that's going to cause problems for them later on, because as we just saw, one thing that Rice's bottom lane has...
Charm's going to land.
A big trade. Nothing too crazy going to happen out of it, but to finish my point, they have the power in that matchup to just hard engage now that Ashe has hit 6. So blue team going to have to be very, very careful going forward as Shield Bow is fully completed.
Yeah, the item disadvantage is massive for the side of LeBlanc. He picked up so much gold in both that last gank and the dragon fight. It was important to note that he was the one who got that shutdown onto Atlas, who had a big bounty on in the pocket. So LeBlanc getting his opportunity in the first game of his team to carry, as he's in a solid position, and he is definitely the gold leader, if not first or second.
Yeah, and I want to really highlight Anon's jungle play here, because as we said, this is a player who last minute had to do a substitution, is normally the coach for this team, now having to play this new role in this league with the stakes high. And look at this. I mean, he's just been so proactive around the map. Might be in trouble, though.
Yep, looking to take the smite fight, but a lot of damage. He is going to grab it. Now the dash is going to be a good ultimate shut down as a non-curse goes for the Rift Herald and gives up so much gold on the backhand. Now you're really praying this Rift Herald is going to be worth it, because that's a lot of resources as Burger King's going to keep looking, but not going to go too deep in the jungle.
Yeah, feeling like he doesn't want to crash.
Knockup's going to be available onto Perpetual Dust. He's going to get double stunned from the grasp, but so much damage is coming to the reprisal. But a massive shield from the Tahm Kench R, and now even with an eye, is just praying that he can live. Hook is not going to be available just yet. Stun's going to come, and that's another 2v2 kill for the side of this bot lane.
What a play from the bottom lane of Rice. Able to take a clean 2v2. What a great Abyssal Voyage, setting up the knockup onto Zeri. She had nowhere to go. Another fantastic ultimate as well coming out of from the TK to secure the kill. Man, that play just makes me so excited to see Tahm Kench back in the support role. In top lane, he is quite the oppressive bully, but in bottom lane, man, can that guy make plays.
I have a deep form of respect for Zenzen being happy that Tahm Kench is back, because the majority of us hate this champion because of how much that R shield manages to come, as another smite still isn't going to come in for Atlas, but he's going to be in trouble. He's going to be forcing it, but good flash over the wall. Copper's going to be the one who drives. Now LeBlanc is going to be in a lot of trouble. Perpetual Dust is not going to get the dash over the wall. Even with an eye looking for the hook, isn't going to grab it yet, but Predator is going to be here forcing the flash out of LeBlanc, and so much damage. Even with that, he's going to have the hook soon. Is he going to be able to land it? Stun's not going to be available from the side of Burger King, so not a lot of follow-up if he does choose to go, as the Dragon's going to go over for the side of Rice, but a kill onto a very important member from taking Copper down.
Yeah, very, very close there. If Perpetual Dusk had an E that actually traveled the whole wall, we would have seen a lot more deaths for Team Rice, but fortunately for them, able to escape with the objective and by the skin of their teeth without losing too much. But we're starting to see that this is really anyone's game. Still, only 1,000 gold separates these two teams, as a charm is going to land, but here comes Atlas.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a battle of where that goal is allocated. Burger King having the tools in his pocket, and LeBlanc on the other end having the tools in his pocket, as the gold is very, very close between this mid and 80 carry, as Kai'Sa's going to be forced to dash away. Ultimate used, big cooldown gone. So well done just using the Everfrost and forcing away. Good roam also from the side of weak side veteran, who we haven't seen much of this game. as he's just gonna walk in. Smite already used, and now Anon Curse is in trouble. Gonna get ulted back, have the Safeguard available. Charm is gonna land onto Atlas, a bunch of damage, but the stun's gonna be there, and Kai'Sa is gonna be forced to flash away. A lot of follow-up, but Anon Curse is going back in. He's taking so much damage. Vest is on the backside. The fight is on. Atlas is gonna get the heal. Vest is gonna be looking for the kill. He's looking to chase down this Kindred, and Kindred's life is gone as Atlas is gonna die, and Vest is gonna grab it. So good roll on the side of this top lane, and just a little bit of over-aggression for the side of Ragnarok.
Yeah, I really like what Ragnarok was trying to do, play very proactively in the enemy jungle. They had, the priority in top lane, weak side veteran able to get to the fight first, but unfortunately, as soon as Vest shows up, it just becomes an absolute disaster for them, as Rice able to pick up a kill and completely stop that play, and now Burger King may be in trouble again. Lee Sin just popping his head in there, but no action going to be taken there.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee Sin looking for the Burger King as the Q isn't going to land. That would have been a very close execute combo if he did land it, but cooldowns save for both sides, and Anon Curse is just going to get this Rift Herald popped and give Kai'Sa that gold.
Yeah, and I like trying to get this Herald down as soon as we can. Unfortunately, the plates are going to be gone. Okay, so having to play very carefully in the pocket here. We'll be able to get out of here, but just getting that mid lane turret down lower is essential for this team because they would really like to play proactively and use these tools in the Ash Arrow and the Ari Charm to get picks before objectives happen, whereas in the full 5-on-5, they're maybe not quite as strong. So trying to get that mid turret down is really essential, and look at this proactive roam down in the bottom lane.
Yep, 4-man roam, gonna be punished Perpetual Dusk yet again, missing some waves at the tower. He has managed to stay comparable in CS, which is good on his part, but yeah, just getting punished in this early game, especially when Burger King is unable to follow those roams.
Yeah. So let's take stock of this game now. 7-11 in kills. Weak side veteran doing okay up in this top lane. Has to try and get this into
all
tower.
in. Gwen's used her ultimate, and the damage is going to be there. And weak side veteran's going to make a immaculate combo as this Gragas had so much damage in the back pocket and is going to take down Vest in the solo kill.
Yeah, going for that
ultimate's going to come, and so much damage onto Burger King, whose life is going to be dropping soon. He's going to get the Hourglass, but it's not going to be enough as another shutdown has been grabbed by LeBlanca. And now even with an eye looking to get away, isn't going to be unable to, as the knockup's going to be there, and a non-curse is going to grab another. So just punished in the red side jungle with these trying to rotations, and Burger King unable to stay safe.
Yeah, and slowly but steadily, it looks like the Rice farmers are building up a nice buffer of gold. They're getting that gold lead up to about 3,000 now. Gonna go ahead and drop those recalls with Dragon on their minds. 45 seconds until that next objective. And I gotta say, their ability to play decisively around the enemy jungle has been immaculate. Look at the vision control they had before they recall.
Yeah, this is. They came back from a difficult early game state to constantly find these plays and punish Ragnarok consistently when they're going over aggressive. Now, this kind of created a game state where Atlas was so far ahead, and now he's neutral to a Lee Sin, and that execute pressure is going to be very, very potent, especially since Lee Sin can always kick you out of your ultimate.
Right. Yeah. As we see both teams trying to set up for this dragon here, it looks like Ragnarok going to have the control of the river, but it looks like the other team has.
They're here first. Non-curse is going to face check. Stuns are going to be there, and now he's not going to be able to get it. Jungler is going to be in the belly, and now Copper is trying to keep him alive. Atlas capping out this Tom Kench. No one's dropped yet, but Burger King is on the back line. Good ultimate from the side of Atlas, keeping everyone alive, and now the fight reset's going to be there. Burger King has taken so much damage, and a non-curse is going to be the first one to drop as Atlas grabs it. And now they're just so good at kiting so far, as weak side veteran's going to get a good split, and a shutdown's going to be grabbed on the side of LeBlanca. A fantastic fight for the side of Ragnarok. They played it immaculate.
Yeah, I mean, as we look at this start, initially, it's Ragnarok who have the inside track on the river. They think that they can take this fight as long as they can burst quickly enough, but it's not quite going to be enough. They do a ton of damage here. Hook's going to go ahead and land on the Lee Sin, and they stop him in the cage, and all of this looks fantastic. But again, the utility from Tom Kench, keeping the members of Ragnarok just barely alive, makes this a lot dicier of a fight. I want to give special shout outs to Perpetual Dark for playing this so well and trying to stay as safe as he can. Even though these health bars are so low, they do such a great job of kiting back, forcing them into this choke point, and a weak side veteran with an immaculate Gragas ultimate completely turns the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Unable to get that flash body slam also. If he had landed that, that would have been easily 2 more kills following up. But that ultimate placement was really fantastic at splitting the fight. And this clearly is what the goal is with this composition from the side of Ragnarok. You have the reset from the Kindred R, and after that, there's going to be so much damage that comes in. You just want the fight to instantly spread away. And good timing from the side of Weak Side Veteran, who's going an extremely burst heavy build with the Ludens Echo.
Honestly, I kind of like it. I mean, looking at the members of Rice Farmers, they don't necessarily have a true tank character. Even though Tom Kench will be building, entirely tank items, he's on a supports budget this game, right? So he's not going to be particularly powerful in that regard. And Weakside Veteran goal in every fight is to just split the team. If he can make it such that the Lee Sin is sort of out of position or the Gwen is far away, then he's going to be very happy as we see a light engage coming in,
Yep.
but no Ash Arrow means no follow-up and no problem just yet.
Yep, close on the angle, and Ankur is clearly looking for the kick. Doesn't have the flash to reposition, so that's going to save Perpetual Dust life. Would have been very close. He does have flash available, and that E over walls is very difficult to pin down the Zeri when she does get some space. But just a difficult play. It is really interesting to weigh these team counts have shaked out because now we kind of seen with both teams win conditions. The 5v5s are going more in the side of Ragnarok as they have a lot of tools in those heads up engages, and then we see the picks are very advantageous for the side of Rice Farmers, who and they had been on a tear consistently finding picks over and over. But when those dragons spawn and you have to 5v5, there's going to need to be some early pressure coming out from Rice Farmers. Make sure they are in the lanes early enough so they can actually force the face check.
Right. As we see, Burger King actually maybe caught out a little bit here, a little bit surprised.
Oh, but that's
see
gonna
that
land, and that's so
my
much damage. As Kaiso's gonna be in execute range soon, and he's just gone. As everything's gonna land from Burger King, playing his range as well, and then the cage was just unseen from the side of Kaiso, unable to get the Spirit Rush available, and an instant kill comes in.
An incredible play from Burger King. I look at that situation where Ari is between you and your tower. She has ultimate. She's got 3 dashes. You're just a Vigar. You're just a waddling like basically blue minion. You're dead
Oh,
every time.
Ultimate's
Oh,
gonna
but
go
the
in.
arrow
Perpetual
kinetics.
Dust, no cleanse yet, but still does have the dash out. He's gonna get it all the way over the wall, and on Curse is not gonna have any follow up. But now Teleport's coming in, even with an eye, is unable to land the hook onto LeBlanca though, so that's gonna completely reset the fight as they're looking for the Rift Herald, and the spawn is in.
Yeah, so carefully, Calso needs to join this fight. Gonna go ahead and drop the TP, but might get collapsed on. Has to immediately ult out as we start
That
this
poke's
fight.
not going to land. The kickback is going to be there. Atlas is going to get that ultimate down, trying to stay safe as long as he can. LeBlanc is going to get that extra autos. Atlas is the first one to drop. The fight is completely split, and Ragnarok is struggling, and the shutdown is going to come in for Vars. Burger King is down. All the damage is out as Perpetual Dust forced to kite away. Kaiso is going to get his ultimate and is going to grab the kill on that end, and a 4 for Not as everyone's going to drive except the Nautilus, surprisingly, but just a punishing team fight, and with Baron spawning, this is going to clearly be the objective.
Yeah, and the Rice Farmers take a decisive fight right where they want to be, directly on top of Baron Spawn. This is a massive swing that's going to be at least a 4,000 gold lead once they complete this. And again, I have to give credit to their incredible job sort of creating space and confusion in the team fight. As we say, Ragnarok Loki has the better team fighting composition. They have a lot of powerful crowd control tools. However, when the fight gets chaotic, when it gets mixed up, when you have an Ari in one direction and a Lee Sin in another, you get your mental stack gets overloaded. You struggle to figure out, what's the danger coming from, and ultimately that allows Rice to take a massive win just with the Ari flank from the teleport. Really great job. They are set up for success to close out this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's extremely important to watch your locations in these team fights. And there isn't even though there is a better team fight from the composition for the side of Ragnarok, they're still getting punished. This long arrow is going to be there. Cleanse isn't going to come in yet. Perpetual Dust is just going to save it way too long and give over his life, kick back onto Even with an Eye. The Q is going to miss, so the extra execute damage isn't going to be there as now Nankar is going aggressively, going to Q the minion, unable to find it. And now Weak Side Veteran is close enough to look for follow-up, isn't going to do so. Ultimate's going to force the flash out of Kaiso. So a bunch of return damage, non-curse getting a little aggressive, unable to find that last execute, but this bot lane has just been consistently punished for the side of Loki, and this is exactly what I was about to get into. As the bot lanes, our difference is massive right now. The room for arrow, you're just not going to get that, as LeBlanc is just so far ahead, and if he has space to work, he's going to constantly do damage and output more than what Perpetual Dust can offer right now.
Yeah, I mean, Zeri's sitting on, like, what is that, the fidget spinner the wheelies and like a couple of knives compared to a shield bow wits end Ash, like it's no contest. Zeri, one of those picks that's incredibly powerful if you can stay in the fight long enough to deal consistent damage, but as we've seen time and time again, the Rice Farmers very good at just shutting down that character immediately. And when you don't have that longevity in a fight, it's just a nightmare to play from this far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's a champion whose neutral game is extremely strong, so she does fight very well around these objectives. But when she gets punished so hard in lane, just by very good play from the side of LeBlanca and Copper, and Anankurs finding those gank avenues, it really destabilized this lane state. And Professional Dust getting a little greedy in that last team fight, saving his cleanse for way too long. As now Burger King's going to get Asheroed. This is another one stunned up. Knockup's going to be there. Atlas is going to be there. Follow. The execute damage is going to come right in onto Kaiso as soon as he gets it, but he does going to get an hourglass. Now Vars is on the back line looking to get the snip, and there's too many snips coming as another well-played fight for the side of Rice Farmers, and they're looking for the game as Perpetual Dusk is going to get that dash away, but another one team fight and a lot of aggression coming out from Rice Farmers.
Yeah, this could be the game. Death timers are still pretty short, so they're almost certainly going to get this inhibitor, but again, they've just been playing so well with the compositions that they've got, poking in and out, landing the Ash Arrow, dashing back and forth between the Lee Sin and the Ahri. Even though this team does not have a particularly strong dedicated tank, it's just so hard for the team from Ragnarok to really lock down a single member. Time and time again, between the Ahri ultimate dashes and the Tahm Kench eat, it's just impossible to find people, and this is a cheeky play. I love it.
Oh, yep, and Anankurs is going to see him on the ward. Unable to get the kick just yet, but the stun is going to land, and another arrow is going to come in. LeBlanca is just heat-seeking these arrows so far, as Anankurs is unstoppable, grabbing another one. And this bot lane combination has been so good for the side of Rice Farmers this game. And just LeBlanca putting on a show. He is their main engage.
Yeah. And he understands the role of what Ash needs to do this game, and I don't think that I've seen him miss an arrow. Have you seen him miss an arrow? I think that he's just been on point the whole game, which is insane when you think of the level of caliber these teams are playing at. To not miss your key ability at least once is truly something exceptional.
I mean, at the very least, he hasn't missed an arrow that mattered. And the consistent use of this long-range team fighting tool, I mean, there isn't anyone who really wants to tank it because as we've been mentioning, there is no front line. There's no one who can eat the arrow and not be in kill threat from the one-shot burst, especially since you're going to get charmed right after. You're going to have the Everfrost come in. There's a lot of follow damage. His weak side is going to use his dash, and now he's going to get stunned up, taking a bunch of damage, going to drop the Kaiso, using that body slam to clear the wave, and you drop as your sins. And it's just another punishing play. Just picks are just coming in fast and furious on the side of Ragnarok.
Yeah, this is the point in the game where we start to see these teams who, really understand how to close out a game, just go into overdrive mode. Rice knows what they need to do. They have the open inhibitor in mid lane. They just need to crack down on the side lanes. And immediately weak side veteran picked off. Just try to clear a couple waves, and now the siege is starting to begin. This is a really tough spot for Ragnarok.
Yep, the clear is slow. Autos are going to be there. Flash kick onto Burger King. Another arrow is landed from LeBlanca in a fantastic play for Anankurs finding it. Now, even with an eyes looking to go in, Anankurs taking a bunch of damage in reprisal. But the ultimate's going to be used for nothing. With the Kindred ultimate down, that's a massive team fight tool not utilized. And this is just going to be 3 inhibs.
Yeah, triple inhibitors down. You cannot see a worse position in League of Legends than this.
Well, you have to defend this, and it looks like they're going to try. Atlas walking up aggressive, even with an eye looking for the engage. Unable to find it. Electrocute's going to be there. Kaiso is going to be damaged. Anankurs is going to grab one. He is going to trade his life, not yet, but Tahm Kench is going to save him. So the fight is over. The game is done, and Ragnarok is going to drop as the Rice Farmers are going to grab a fantastic 26-minute game early on, showing some dominance in their first match.
Yeah, what a decisive showing from Rice Farmers. Picked up huge leads. That Lee Sin 11-4 at the end of the game. They understood what their composition needed to do, and they executed their strategy incredibly well. Huge props to them. What a great way to start off our spring tournament.
Oh, absolutely. They did not let us down, and credit where it's always due. I always go out of my way to make sure I give credit to the players who really, really stood out. And Anand Kurse subbing in right when he was needed, played the Lee Sin to a level that we would expect from a high level player. But being a support main, definitely came in and performed quite well. But LeBlanca, he was just everything for this team for this last match. Constantly landing every arrow, every single engage was on point, and just finding priority targets in every fight. You can't expect anything more from your AD carry.
Yeah, fantastic play from our first two competitors. I also want to give credit for Ragnarok Esports. There were moments of brilliance in that game, right? I think Weak Side Veteran played an incredible Gragas game in this match and kept it very close. The ultimates were very, very good and very close to turning the fights. Unfortunately, I'm just not quite able to keep up with the mobility. And also, TSM Burger King had a couple of moments of brilliance with that Vigard cages. I'm curious to see if that will persist throughout the tournament or if that's something that teams will look to ban, because Vigard is looking like an incredibly powerful pick moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. Rice Farmers is going to grab their first W, and Ragnarok is going to need to bounce back later on today. Please stick around because there is more Mythic action to come.
Don't go anywhere.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here with our first Mythic interview today, and I am joined by Anon Chris. From one Chris to another, welcome to the desk. How you feeling?
Pretty good actually.
Yeah, that was a big win to start off the day for us. Let's talk a little bit about the draft that you folks put together. You were subbing in the jungle, and you folks actually opted to draft one of the tougher jungle champions to play, which is the Lee Sin, into
Mhm.
a Kindred, which is not something that we see super often in Friend or Foe. We certainly see it more often than pro play, but yeah, not a super common pick. And then on the 12-6, we are starting to see people starting to let the Zeri through more. So we had the Zeri matchup into the Ashe in the bot side. What were your general thoughts overall on the draft that you folks put together and what you ended up against?
Yeah, so this morning I was prepping a lot for the Zeri pick, the Vygar Kindred Nautilus. I already had this pre-planned, but we sadly only had one ban to do on red side. In this meta, it's blue side Fairy Bird because you can get prio pick, but on R2, it's usually we blind R2. So usually Ari has no counter matchups, basically. So Ashe is good into Zeri. Ari has overall good matchups, and then we just picked Tom Kench because they picked Nautilus. And then the reason why I picked Lee Sin is because I can move fluid in team fights while outpacing the jungler on picks and whatnot. And Tom Kench can just eat me in and out, and then Ari can just go in and out. And then we have Ashe E to find jungler. Basically, we're trying to shut down where Kindred can gank and get his marks off. Early game was kind of a struggle, but we made it through like objectives, team fights, and strategic points. We didn't want them to have a chance to breathe, so we basically just used ultis on CDR, made them get out tempoed by macro, and macro wins the game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your position, especially because as I was saying a moment ago, this is not your native position, so to speak, but you played it pretty well this game. Early on, as you said, it was you were falling behind in experience to the Kindred. There was a point where you two passed like ships in the night, and Kindred was level 5 and you were still level 3, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that could have got a little messy. It would
Yeah.
have probably led to a lot of more problems because I don't think I don't think weak side was able to really play into that fight when that was going on. Either way, though,
Mhm.
you played pretty well on this. Only critique that I have is that you were like 3 seconds too late in putting down the Herald and just like barely missed the plates.
Yeah.
That should hurt me. That was pain. But
Yeah.
so, what were your general thoughts on playing out this match? And what I actually don't know myself. What is your native position on this team?
I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what my position of like, what do I do for the team or
Yeah,
whatnot?
are you the coach if I remember
Yeah,
correctly?
I'm the coach.
Right on.
Yeah. So basically, I'm the coach. I teach him like strategic standpoints, macro, fundamentals. But yeah, we prepped hard for this week's Sin scrims. So the Kindred Lee Sin matchup, even though he's level 5, I'm level 3, we still win early skirmishes with the comp we have. Um, if they walk in, we can walk in after. Like, it's just a vision thing. And my team played pretty well. So team gap, you know.
Yep, that's the way it goes sometimes, man. That's why you prep, so it looks like a team gap when you get together on the
Nah, but that
stage.
Vygar pick kind of scared me though.
Yeah, the baby cage, the waddling baby cage is always something to be. A few things I'm afraid of no man, but that thing scares me sometimes. So,
Yeah.
right on, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Before we step away, though, your opportunity. Any final thoughts to leave with us on the desk? Any shout outs or any banter?
Yo, we're gonna win. Team gap, coach gap, okay? That's it.
There you have it, folks. All right, well, Anon, Chris, thank you so much for joining for this interview. Congratulations to Rice Farmers on our first win for our Mythic Spring Tournament. We do have 2 more games coming up today. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with you for Game 2, so don't go anywhere.